How did tribal group live? By the 19th century, tribal people in different parts of India were involved in a variety of activities. Some of them practiced jhum cultivation. It is a shifting cultivation. This was done on small patches of land, mostly in forest. The cultivators cut the tree top to allow sunlight to reach the ground and burnt the vegetation on the land to clear it for cultivation. They used axe to cut the trees and the hoe to scratch the soil in order to prepare it for the cultivation. They also scattered the seeds on the field instead of plugging. Once the crop was ready and harvested, they moved to another field. A field that had been cultivated once was left fallow for several years. Shifting cultivators were found in the hilly and forest tracts of northeast and central India. The lives of these tribal people depend on free movement within the forest and on being able to use the land and forest for growing their crops. In many regions, tribal groups lived by hunting animals and gathering forest produce. The Khons were such a community living in the forest of Orissa. They regularly went out on collective hunts and then divide the meat amongst themselves. They ate fruit and roots collected from the forest and cooked food with the oil they extracted from the sheets of sal and mahua. They used many forest shrubs and herbs for medication purpose. They sold forest produce in the local markets. At times, they exchanged goods, getting what they needed in return for their valuable forest produce. At other times, they bought goods with the small amount of earnings they had. Some of them did odd jobs in the village, carrying loads or building roads, while others labored in the field of peasants and farmers. The dikus of central India were reluctant to do work for others. They saw themselves as a people of the forest, who could only live on the forest produced of the forest. It was below the dignity of diku to work as labor. The tribal groups often needed to buy and sell in order to be able to get the goods that were not produced within the locality. This led to their dependence on traders and moneylenders. Traders come around with things for sale and sold the goods at high prices. Moneylenders gave loans with which the tribal met their cash needs. But the interest charged on the loans was usually very high. So for the tribals, market and commerce often meant debt of poverty. Many tribal groups lived by herding and rearing animals. They were pastoralists who moved with their herds of cattle or sheep according to the seasons. When the grass in one place was exhausted, they moved to another area. The Van Gujars of Punjab, Labadis of Andhra Pradesh, Gaddis of Kulu, and Bhakarwals of Kashmir were such kind of workers. Even before 19th century, many from within the tribal group had begun settling down and cultivating their fields in one place. They began to use the plough and gradually got rights over the land they lived on. All members of the clan were regarded as descendants of the original settler. Very often, some people within the clan acquired more power than others. Some became chiefs and others followers. Powerful men often rented out their land instead of cultivating it themselves.